So it's been a couple months since we heard of the game 6 Days of Fallujah. If you guys remember, a while back we were covering this game. It's a tactical FPS Milsim type game, and I really had high hopes for it. I feel that on console and on the PC world, there aren't that many tactical FPSs. Well, new FPSs, and I felt that this could fill the void. Now, Highwire Games did come out today and announce plans to nearly double the size of the team developing 6 Days in Fallujah and delay the release until Q4 of 2022. So it looks like it's not coming out anytime soon. Now, their public statement does say that it became very clear that recreating these true stories at high quality was going to require more people, capital, and time that they ever had. The CEO said doubling our team is just one of many things we're doing to make sure 6 Days in Fallujah brings new kinds of tactical and emotional depth to military shooters. For all of you who don't know the background of this game, this was conceived by a Marine who was badly wounded during the battle and developed with help from more than 100 Marine soldiers and Iraqi civilians. 6 Days in Fallujah mixes documentary with gameplay to recreate true stories from 2004's second battle for Fallujah. The game aims to give players a deeper understanding of urban warfare through the stories and struggles of both service members and civilians. 6 Days in Fallujah is being developed by Highwire Games, which is led by many of the people who co-invented the original Halo and Destiny games. And one of the main features that really caught my attention with this game was how they showed us each room, each building constantly changes. Yes, it constantly changes when you attack these rooms. When you're storming the building, you never know what enemies are going to be behind that door. You never know what that building is going to be. It's not a game you can memorize because the buildings are always changing, the rooms are always changing, always giving you a new experience. But now it even gets better. So recently they released an article, they're calling it the SIPREP, and they talk about global dynamic lighting. And I can tell you, I was very impressed with what they had to say. So the first thing they get into is they say traditionally most game engines pre-bake their lighting. While this approach can yield strong visual quality, it comes at the cost of static game worlds, sunlight, shadows, lamps. Most other lights are all fixed from start to finish. Of course, in the real world, light and shadows can change constantly, and this often has a huge impact on combat. Marines, soldiers, and civilians didn't have the luxury of memorization and trial and error when navigating Fallujah. In 6 Days in Fallujah, players don't either. Also, so we sought a solution that will compete with bake lighting and visuals fidelity, but also offer flexibility needed to match our gameplay goals. We arrived at global dynamic lighting. They dive in a little bit deeper and they say even something as simple as clouds moving across the sky can change player visibility. As the clouds reposition, the intensity and the distribution of light also changes across the game world. Ultimately, this affects how players' eyes adapt to this light. And it says, take the 2 screenshots. And I'm going to be showing you 2 different ones right here. And it says, in the first one, intense sunlight creates very specific and target areas of visibility. However, the increasing cloudiness in the second screenshot distributes light more evenly, exposing insurgents who would otherwise be hidden. In other conditions, clouds might hide these threats. And if you look at them side by side, you can really see the difference of dynamic lighting, right? Like the cloudiness blocking one and then the other one really opening up and being able to see insurgents really well in one of them and then hardly see them in the other one. They go on to say with this global dynamic lighting system, we have more creative control over 6 days. As shown in the video, the transition from interiors to exteriors can be blinding and create various degrees of stress when being fired upon. This lack of visibility requires you to devise new tactics before entering many buildings. On the other side, moving from a bright afternoon into a dark basement can drive the feelings of claustrophobia. On both accounts, the player walks into each scenario feeling unsettling emotions, uncertainty, hesitation, and fear. They then say lighting or lack thereof is as much of a threat as enemy insurgents. You're fighting the darkness as well as the boogeyman, one just as relentless as the other. While the enemy is clearly discernible in other shooters, dark-clothed insurgents lurking in shadows are entirely different entities. At its core, it's a different fight with different strategies the players may employ. In one case, you may see the muzzle flash firing from a doorway in the distance. In another, swinging ceiling lights may indicate enemy movement. Do you shoot blinding, wasting crucial ammo? Or toggle your flashlight for more clarity at the cost of your position? Or simply hold and wait? They say global dynamic lighting, time of day is no longer a development obstacle, as we are also featuring night operations in the game. Now that actually seems pretty cool. Lighting plays a significant role here, with flares being deployed to light up an area of operation. We have the ability to move these flares as needed as they fall without any inconsistencies in world shadows. As you may know, flares are not consistent source of light, and the player returns to dark night in Fallujah as the flares taper off. What's even more impressive is enemy AI is tuned to better notice players when visible in light or when holding flashlights. Now they did bring up a great point where it said until recently it was believed that global dynamic lighting in high-end 3D shooters was only possible on the most recently released game consoles and high-end PC graphics cards. However, we are bringing the extraordinary technology to previous generation consoles and mid-range PC graphics cards, as well as the newest and next generation systems when 6 days ships in Q4 of 2024. So if you guys are worried about this not coming to old gens, well, you guys should be in luck, because it looks like you guys will have the same experience as the newer generation gaming consoles. So I'll tell you, I personally am very excited for this game. I love tactical FPS, real sims, and if we just want to talk about the console side, there isn't many of them. You guys know we've been covering Insurgency Sandstorm, which was probably one of the first real mil sims that we've ever had on PlayStation and Xbox, but it looks like this might be the next big one to hit console, and obviously this will be on PC too. But as a PlayStation 5 player, I'm very excited for this. I think this could be very, very cool. And I'm actually glad that they realized they might need a bigger team to really provide a better experience for all of us. And this global dynamic lighting that they decided to bring to the game, I think is pretty impressive. The whole turning the light on, being able to see the enemy. When you don't have the light on, you barely saw them. I thought that was actually really, really cool. And the fact that when you're outside, it's gonna be clear as day. And when you start to go into those dark buildings, it's really gonna make a difference on you. Something that would be realistic, right? Have you ever been at nighttime when you shut off the light, right? You have it all bright, you shut off the light, you can't see anything. But if you're in that dark area long enough, your eyes get accustomed to it. And if they can kind of like bring that experience to this game, I think it'll be very, very cool. So I would love to see more about this game. I would love to see updated gameplay. I want to say all the gameplay we have seen, except those 2 new videos, was all gameplay that they showed us originally. So the new stuff looks really cool, and I would definitely love to see more of it. I'm keeping my eye on this. We have a little bit ways to go. It looks like not till Q4 of 2022, but is definitely on my radar. I want to know in the comments, are you guys keeping an eye out for this? Is this on your radar? And what do you guys think? We're going to wrap up the video here. I'll see you in the next one. Nothing but skills is out.